Hey guys, what's up? It is Jim here. Today I have two tutorials that have been requested a whole lot. So we're going to be doing a tutorial for a trigger and a trigger guard grouping area and a magazine release for an AK-47. So these are both going to be specially made for an AK-47 because most people are familiar with that gun, and if you build Lego guns you're most likely going to build an AK-47 at some point. So this video is going to be a little bit longer just so I can go more in depth and make sure that you guys don't end up struggling too much when you do make your AK-47. So do remember to give me credit if you do use this in a YouTube video, or if you post it on Instagram, for example. That'll be highly appreciated so that others can also get the help that they would potentially need. So yeah, first we're going to do the trigger and then we're going to do the magazine release because it'll make way more sense. So let's get started. So these are the pieces for the standard trigger mech that I would make. I made this for my FAMAS last, so you can kind of tell that this is pretty accurate. So these pieces are for the actual trigger itself, and the rest is for the mechanism, supposedly. So we're going to start off with a 1x2 with a hole in it. You can take a 1x4 flat tile and put it on top. Then we will shape it up with putting a 1x3 and a 1x2 behind, and then a T-slope. Now I do prefer this trigger design because it looks a little bit more natural, and it also doesn't have the hole like the Technic one does. The only hole that it does have gets taken up by the pin. Which, talking about the pin, you're going to start off with two 1x4s. With holes in them. You can use 1x6s, but it'll end up giving you more holes visible. So you're going to take a 1x4 rod. It's preferred to use one of these with a stop because it'll be easier to work with. So you see, it can't go through. And you're going to take some of these half stud flush pieces and put it on there. So you can take the trigger and put it through there. Then grab the other flush piece and just seal it in perfectly like that. Then you take the other 1x4 or 1x6, put on the other side, and now we can put these 1x2s under the middle of each of one of these. And now we can grab where our grip would be. So it would, for example, be on a 4x6. I usually use 4x10s on AKs. So you want to have one in the front and one in the back. So you want a 4x6 in the front and a 4x10 in the back. But I'm just using this for easier demonstration. So that is pretty much the trigger setup. So now to go for the magazine release. So these are the pieces that you would need to make a AK-47 magazine release, and say the most special pieces are probably these because they're somewhat hard to get. So what we're going to start with is we're going to grab the rod that we're going to be using. So since this is specifically for an AK-47, we're going to use one of these that has 7 holes in it. And it's going to work perfectly because it's going to reach really far up into the lower receiver like we wanted to, and it's going to lock in the magazine without it wobbling. So we're going to start off with 2 of these pieces, and we're going to take 2 1x2 rods and put them right through. Like that, and then put it through the 2 holes in the bottom, and then put one on top so that it holds. Make sure it's nice and flush, and this will be a bigger paddle, I guess you could say, that also looks a lot better. So that is the general shape. We'll then take 2 1x2s with 2 holes in them, which is crucial because you don't want to use 1x1s with just a hole in it because it'll then end up breaking way easier. And then you're going to take a pin, another 1x4 pin. I really prefer using a stop on this one because it really just makes it way easier to work with while you're still building. So you want to take more of these flesher pieces, or I don't know if they're actually called flesher pieces. I just call them that because it makes it flush. And then you can take your magazine release, and you want to take this hole. So you want to leave 3, but have one open, and go through this one, just like that. Then you want to take the other half-set flush piece and put it in like that, and put the other whole piece like this. So this is a very general shape. If you were making a FAMAS, you would put some pins in the front here. Then this would be how the FAMAS magazine release works. But for the AK, we're going to be using it like this. So now we want to create some walls for it, since it is going to be the AK-47, and you do want the magazine release covered up. So we're going to grab some 1x1 pieces, 2 of them, because we got to make 2 walls, and then some 1x3 bricks. And we just want to stack them on top of each other like this. And then we put them on each side. And just like that, that is a general shape for the AK-47 magazine release. One thing you could optionally do to make it look a little bit nicer is put some 1x3 plates on the bottom of this. So this might also help in making it a little bit more sturdy, since it now won't fall apart. So now what we're next going to do is we're going to grab a rubber band. So I believe this is a medium-sized rubber band that's been used a lot, so it's kind of stretchy. But the way we're going to use it is we're going to put the magazine release to the bottom. Then we're going to try our best to put the rubber band through the hole. So this is made a little bit easier by removing the rubber band and removing the 1x3 pieces. You want to get the rubber band as small as possible, and you want to get it through. I've done this a couple of times, so it might look a little bit easier. But you see, this is why you would need to remove the 1x3 piece. But now it's gone through. And now you can see why it's really useful to have one of these stop pin pieces. So now you want to put the other side on like this. And this is where the hard part comes in, and it is attaching it. So we want to grab this piece, and we want to make a trigger guard for it. And for a standard AK-47 trigger guard, you can make it really easy and just put some 1x2 bricks on top of each other on each side on a 2x4 plate. And then just put it in the back and put it in the front. Right there. And that's going to be where your trigger is going to be working. We'll put a rubber band on the trigger. Yeah, actually, let's just do that right now. So, one thing you could do if you are using somewhat big rubber bands on this part, what you can do is you can actually attach the rubber bands in here, and then put this plate on, then have the rubber bands go here and down here to where the mag release is going to be. It's not recommended though, because it's pretty tricky and can break very fast. So for a piece where you attach the rubber band on here, you're gonna just take a 1x4, which is generally got enough surface for studs to hold it on, and just put a little pin there. And then what you can do is you can put it like here, but of course you want this plate bigger. So now you can put some 1x4s behind here, just so that it won't break. So just like that, now it won't break, and we can also just use these to finish our gun. So now you want to get another rubber band, but this one I'm actually going to double. So I do this by just twisting my hands and putting it through like that. So now you will put the rubber band so that it lands on this edge on the inside. You do not want it on this piece, because then it'll just break off. So on this piece. So you want to put that back, and you want to hold it like this. and take your plate and put it in front. So now when you kind of pull it a little bit, it'll hold. Then you want to pull the rubber band back on this piece and then attach it. So as I showed, it might break, but usually works, and this is a perfectly great strength for a trigger on a Lego gun. So of course you would have your grip here. If you're actually making an AK-47, you probably have your own grip design. I'm not going to show you how to make that. So now we can put our trigger guard back in, and now you can see it works completely fine. So now comes the really tricky and like hard and annoying part. So you want to hold the magazine release with your hand on the paddle and pull your rubber bands up. Then you want to kind of grab this, and you want to put these just one stud on the one stud open space you have. Make sure you do it on both sides. And when it's attached, you want to then grab some 1x8 plates and then put it on each side here. So these pieces you want to put here and here. You want to make sure you do not lose your rubber band. So now I'm just going to, for example, use some really long bricks just to put on top here to make sure that it does not break open while we're trying to attach the rubber band. And as I said, this is possibly the most stressful part of the whole thing. So you want to grab a 1x4 and put a pin in the front like this. Then you want to hook the rubber band onto it. And this can especially be hard when you put it the wrong way, so I got to put it on the other side. And you want to put it in like this, and then just pull it back. And right before you attach it, you got to put another piece on here. Then you pull it back as far as you can or want, and put it down. So now you can optionally put a piece here. I'll show you a piece. So these are some pieces you can use to stop the magazine release from going too far. As you can see, this is the reason why we put up the wall, so that when your magazine is then like this, like it usually is, it is hidden. So you can either use one of these 1x2s with a half stud piece hanging out. You put that there, then it'll work. Or you can put 2 jumper plates right in here. And it's going to do the same thing, it's just going to add a little bit more to the back. But I prefer to use this because it looks a little bit more clean. And now you can test out your magazine release, see if it works. It will end up hitting the rubber bands slightly, but it should work perfectly fine. So now what you'll have to do is you have to make a magazine. Now I'll give you a couple of hints to make a magazine, but I can't really show you how to make the magazine because it's going to be a really long video. So one piece that is really useful to use. So these are some pieces that are really useful to use. So you want to use this on, for example, a 2x8 plate, and then that'll go. When you would then put the magazine in, it would then go like this, and it would be in here. So it would be perfectly locked like this. And then for the front, you would also have one of these, but you would have one plate space. So we would have, hold on, I'll get some 2x8 plates. Alright, so I've grabbed a couple of plates now, and this is pretty much how you would do it. So you would have this on the back, which would then be for the magazine release. Then you would have a plate layer here, then another one on top of that, and then one of these. I think you would only have like a plate layer down here, but plate layer here, so that would then be one plate between these. Then you would put this one. This piece would be on top here, so then the magazine would be sticking out on the bottom like this, and then the other piece would be on top of a plate, which would then be how you would rock the magazine in. So imagine that this is here, it would then go up onto a plate. So that is something you guys will have to figure out for yourself, because this video is very long now and this is the only thing that I've built. So, this is a general lower receiver for an AK-47 that you can use as long as you give credit, or well, if you put any pictures on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, then you can make sure to give me credit, because this is something that I've made, of course, and other people might need a tutorial like this, so it is really useful that you guys would then share it with others. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this will help you guys on making your Lego guns. So yeah, as I said, make sure to give credit if you do use it publicly, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys. Goodbye.